Hello, friends. If you believe you can, you are already halfway there. Would you like to know more about this principle? I'm Vaijayanti Bose, life coach, education professional, and an author. Well, I would like to cite two examples from my life which will illustrate these two principles. This was when my daughter was around 9 years old. Yes. I was given an offer by my principal to complete my master's. Now, you will want to know why at that age. Well, I had completed my honors in history, followed by B.Ed, and I had started on my teaching journey. I had a very, very successful teaching stint, but then the school decided in 1989 to raise the level of courses to include 11 and 12. In other words, we were going to start with classes 11 and 12. And our principal called me one day and said, Vaijayanti, why don't you complete your master's? Then we will not have to look around for another teacher. I thought that was a real good suggestion. So I went home, I spoke to my mother-in-law, to my husband, and immediately got a negative response. How can you go for evening classes to Jadavpur University? The area is not at all peaceful. Every day there is a flare-up between one political group and another. No way. So, where there's a will, there's a way. I went the next day, picked up the form, filled it up, and submitted it. And that is how I started on my 3-year evening course of Masters in Jadavpur University. The paper that I loved the most was political thought. Political thought from Machiavelli to Marx. I found that paper fascinating. And to my surprise, I scored the highest in that paper, 63%, which was the highest score for the entire university, both morning and evening together. So that gave me the confidence that nothing can stop you if you have the will to win. And 3 years is a long time. Mind you, I was teaching then. After my class, the entire day's work, I would go home, eat something, have a small nap, get onto a minibus, go to Jadavpur University, sit for the course, which was a tough and strenuous one, till when the rains began, my husband decided to give me my car for my return journey after he returned from office. So that was a defining moment in my life. And within 3 years, I completed my master's. We started off 11, 12, and I started taking those classes and continued till my retirement. The second defining moment was when, again in school, another principal called me and said that this gentleman wants to speak to you. He was a stranger, I didn't know him, from Adam. And he said, ma'am, he introduced himself. He was the representative of a publishing house in Delhi, a very well-known one. And he said that I have been given your name by one of the most reputed teachers of the city. We had gone to her, but she was extremely preoccupied and she suggested your name. So I said, fine, what for? She said, well, we invite you to write a textbook. I said, textbook? I've never ventured into textbook writing. I know nothing about this. He said, well, there's always a first time, and my principal also. She was very, very supportive. She said, of course, Vaijayanti, you have it in you. Of course you can write a textbook. Your English is superlative. So I took up that challenge, and the book that they asked me to write were the chapters of a book called Transitions, wherein I had to write the history part, and I had a co-author from Delhi who was going to write the civics part. They gave me CBSE text, which was their oeuvre, and they asked me to use the same material but adapt it to the needs of the ICSE board from the point of view of questions, from the point of view of the unfolding of the segments of each chapter. So I took it as a challenge. I had never used MS Word. I learned how to use MS Word. I started for the first time using a laptop to write the chapters. I would mail the chapters to Delhi. They would go through it. I suggested to them, why don't you introduce comic strips? Get some artists to do comic strips and include it there so as to add more interest and eye-catching value. And they did it, and the book was a success. So friends, these are two defining moments in my life, and I wanted to share it with you just to affirm the principle that I have always followed in my life, namely, if you believe you can, half the battle is won. This is the 9th video of my stage 2, and hopefully one more video will take me to stage 3. I do seek your comments, critical and appreciative. Thank you. Vaijayanti Viji signing off.